Hey, this is Bruce Boudreau, and you're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mac, and Harrison. But listen, what about something like, hey, listen, we're the Empty Betters, and you want to lose your money? You bet on us.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 153 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes. I'm going to toss it across the couch to my co-host, Nick Manella. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much, buddy. Happy to be here in sunny Milwaukee with you boys. So anytime the four of us can get together is always a special event. You know, we live pretty far apart, so fired up for this one.
Yeah, we got blessed with beautiful weather out here. Very sunny, very warm. Haven't froze at all in this cold January winter up here, up north in Wisco. Now going to toss it across the desk to my other co-host, Mac Vogel. What's going on?
Doing good. Happy to have you guys here. Really pumped for our big event at Elwood's tonight. Not sure when this one's going up, but it's January 21st, so. Tonight's the night. I'm ready to party.
Yeah, we're recording this before we head out to Elwood for our watch party for the St. Louis Blues versus Chicago Blackhawks. Can't wait to see everybody there. Hopefully, make some new fans, some people hanging out. Should be a good time. Ready to get our party on, some would say.
Absolutely.
Now I'm going to toss it across the room to our intern, Jackson Gross. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. I'm always excited when you guys come back to Milwaukee and hanging out with you guys. The past 2 days have been great so far. So,
well, we appreciate that. Thank God you haven't left us yet. So yeah, it's been a good time so far. I would say we got in real early yesterday. Kind of like just hung out, didn't really do much during the day, and then I can't even remember where we went to dinner last night. Was that place called Mac?
Last night we went to Slick Willie's.
Okay.
But we also went to Conejito's.
That's right.
Why don't you, before we talk about Conejito's, can you describe what Slick Willie's is like and how it's probably the most Wisconsin thing I've ever witnessed in my life?
So Slick Willie's, if you don't know, Friday fish fry is a big thing in Milwaukee and in Wisconsin in general. But my friends and I have kind of gone on a quest over the last month or two to find the best fish fry in Wisconsin. And we're hoping it's like when we first came up with this idea, we were hoping to find like some like hole in the wall place that like it's like if you know type thing. So we ended up accidentally discovering this place, Slick Willie's. It's out in like really like weird part of Wisconsin. I don't really even know like what part it is. Like I have not gotten an answer to that question. But yeah, it's like just 20 minutes outside of like town basically. And you go up to the door. It's like on a dark street with like nothing else on the street. You go up to the door and you're looking at the door and you're like, this place has been closed for 25 years.
It's so true though. Like,
and then you open it up and sure enough, there's music and there's people at the bar and there's
Guy Fieri on TV.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's
they also have a pool table in there that on Fridays is out of order because they have to use the pool table to like prepare all the fish. Like they literally just cover it with like a big like tablecloth, and there's a bunch of like sweet old ladies over there and like people's daughters like volunteering and like just hanging out and like packaging and plating all the like different fish orders and stuff. So it's a real like just like front of house operation. Like it's all right there in front of you. Mm-hmm. Cash only bar, so it's good.
Yep.
yes.
And yeah, I think the fish fry, like the normal cod plate is like $10.99 and it's like ton of fish, bunch of fries.
It was so much
buttered
food.
Rye bread. You get the coleslaw. You get the tartar that comes with the fish. That's fire. So
it's a hell of a deal.
And 250 Miller Lights, 350, something like that.
Gotta love that.
The Gatorade of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Slick Willie's for the win.
So for those who don't know, because I obviously didn't know this before I came to Wisconsin the first time, on Fridays it's called a Fish Fry Friday, and the whole state or city of Milwaukee or state of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
all the restaurants do like fried fish on Friday nights.
Yep.
And you can only get it on Friday. Like, it's very common. You'll go to a restaurant and you'll see on the menu like Friday special, like Friday fish fry, but you cannot get it like at any other day of the week. They only make it on Friday.
It's originally like the Catholic thing, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't,
I think that's
you don't
where it
eat meat
stems
on
from.
Fridays.
Yeah,
so you eat
it's
fish
like a
instead.
Yeah,
Lenten
exactly.
thing or whatever. But now
Because
it's
fish
just,
ain't meat.
What?
Yeah.
Because fish ain't meat.
Fish ain't meat.
Yeah.
And then obviously, so we landed. We went to Conajitos. We did the strawberry margaritas. We all know how that goes. They're amazing. Then we went to Slick Willie's, and then we ended up going to Mac's Beer League game, which was a very interesting time. Hopefully, we'll have the video of the pregame coverage that we had that I found pretty funny.
Oh, it's good.
We got to do some antiquing too.
You
We got to
did a
do
very
some
good job.
antiquing. We
Yeah.
saw some. What was that? Antique on Pierce Street. Is that what it was?
Antiques on Pierce. Yeah.
Nick got himself a little something. Something you want to share?
I
With us?
did. I got a nice little Bush Light flannel. Been drinking that on the pod for like 2.5 years now, so got to show them some love. I love how like when we walked into like that portion of the antique store, which was like 4 stories, it was just a room that had like Bush Light stuff all over it. Like I could have died happy there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And then we ended up going to like a couple other shops. Came back home, dinner, beer league game. Mac, I want you to break down how you felt the beer league game went.
Well, it's funny when I got in the locker room after the game. All my friends knew like my podcast buddies are in town this weekend, and they were like, "Shit, is that going on the podcast?" And they were like, "You can't talk about this game on the podcast." And I was like, "I'll make something up. Don't worry. I'll say like we won like 6-2, and it was
Yeah.
great."
I mean, that's what I saw.
yeah,
Exactly.
That's what happened. So I'm not making it up.
Well, we had the over/under set at 9.5 goals for
Yep.
your game. I believe the final score was 9-1.
It
We don't
was.
care who wins because
Right.
we're talking totals here, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I ended up hitting that over. Nick ended up losing the under.
Yep.
And honestly,
Tough
it was
loss.
all part of the plan because if you don't know, in beer league, in my beer league at least, as soon as a team is losing by more than 6 goals, you get a running clock. Like they just don't. They like even if the whistle blows, the clock just keeps running.
Yeah.
So I like to think we were kind of Furta. We were Furta boys on
There
that
you
one,
go.
just because it was a late game and there were beers to be drank afterwards and
Yeah, you gotta get
old
the
fashions to be
important
sipped
Yeah.
afterwards.
And like, at what point do we call foul play for like bringing in like the superstar Tendy who just had like a full game of warm
That's
up?
true. They
Yeah.
did. Their goalie had just played a different game against like the A League,
A very good
guys,
team.
and then he was like, "Oh, now I get to play these B League like screwballs." Okay, easy.
Yeah. So, anyways, 9-1 finish. Don't know who won. Don't care who won.
I had fun.
Doesn't
I had
Yeah.
a good time.
That's all that matters.
And then
Win or lose.
Where did we,
We
end
still
up going
booze.
out after? We went to
Went to Boone and Crockett.
Boone and Crockett.
Otherwise known as Brick and Cornerstone, otherwise known as Broom and Crown. Any B and C combo works. So, but yeah, good place, good drinks, good times.
Good time.
Yeah.
Always a good time.
Got brunch this morning. It was really, really
so good.
Yeah, if you're in the Milwaukee area, check out Uncle Wolfie's Breakfast Tavern. That place fucks.
And we got to apply the knowledge that you dropped on us last week with the question of the day about like, do you go sweet or savory with breakfast? So you gotta
Right.
love that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think everybody went savory.
Yep.
Well, I think. Well, we did all go savory, but 3 of us went lunch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jackson went breakfast.
Yep.
My girlfriend also went breakfast.
Yeah.
So there was a nice mix of like, because we didn't talk about that. We talked about sweet or savory, but we never talked about do you go lunch or breakfast at brunch. And it's a tough one.
Like, had I not, I got like that awesome burger, fries, Irish coffee. Like, had I not gotten the Irish coffee, I was absolutely gonna get a beer.
Yeah.
So I was totally
Well, we
in
went
lunch
at,
mode.
Like 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
too, right?
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could've
To
been
be fair, we
justified.
got there closer to noon, but it's like a tiny place and it's pretty popular, so it's like you gotta wait a little bit. But by the time we were eating, it was like 1 or like
No, that was like
yeah.
my first time having like a smash burger where they smash the patties down. I'm a very big fan of that now.
Yeah,
I think
that was a
It's
really
nice
good
because they
one,
get
too.
like the crispy edges. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep, it was very, very good. So now we're just resting up, gearing up for Elwood's. We're going to be leaving here probably in the next like 2 hours, something like that. We just wanted to kind of hop on, do a little live show since we don't get to do this that often. So let's talk about the big game tonight that we're going to be watching at Elwood's. We got the Blackhawks versus the Blues, a game that, maybe all of you listening are like, what the fuck? Like, we don't care. Well, we do because we're going to the bar tonight and we're watching.
Big Midwest
Exactly.
rivalry too. Doesn't really
Yep.
matter how good either of those teams are at
No
any
love.
given
yeah.
season. It's just like they hate each other, and it usually I feel like is a pretty good game between the two of them. So
So, Jay, I know you were talking to Mac a little bit about
Yes.
some of the guys on the Hawks who have been stepping up lately. What have you seen?
The biggest guy I've been noticing recently has been Max Domi. Nice little 1-year contract guy that will probably get flipped at the deadline for some prospects and some picks. But right now he's on pace for a 60-point season. I don't think most people saw that out of him this year. He's been doing a really solid job. I think he's on the second line at this point, but he's doing a solid job.
I think he's got like 13 or 14 goals or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Respectable.
But he's been doing a really good job playmaking. And then you still got Old Reliable and Jonathan Toews. He's been putting up a few goals recently. I think he's up to 14 or 15 on the season
There we go.
after putting up basically around that for an entire year the past couple of years. So good to see Johnny Toews getting back into the swing of things.
What are your thoughts on his comments recently? He had that quote about saying, like, okay, like, I can kind of see the writing on the wall where this team is going. I know I've said I don't want to be traded, but, like, not paraphrasing or not quoting him at all here, but, like, he basically said, you can trade me.
I don't like that. Like,
Because you don't want to trade him.
exactly. I mean, for the long run, it would make sense to trade both Toews and Kane, just
Right.
because, especially Kane with the value you could get. Like,
Yes.
I think you could maybe sneak out a Lafreniere from the Rangers or something,
Probably.
plus some other stuff.
Yeah.
There's
Toews,
definitely still some serious value there.
Yeah.
Trade value.
Toews, I'm not sure how much. Maybe a team looking for maybe like a second line center at this point. Good defensive guy, good penalty kill guy, can put up a few goals here and there. So yeah, long term, like blow it up. But the Hawks fan is like, no, there are certain players and certain teams that will have to play for that team forever. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins, Alex Ovechkin on the Capitals.
Damn
like
straight.
those are just guys that should not ever leave those teams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, I hear you.
one more Hawks-related question.
Okay.
Are either of those two, Toews or Kane, getting a statue outside of the United Center?
Toews, I think 100%, just because he obviously the captain,
Right.
leader of the team through that entire dynasty. I think Kane probably like an 80% chance, I'd say,
Okay.
because while Toews was obviously the leader, yada yada, Kane was always the best offensive player
For sure.
on that team throughout that entire stretch run. I wouldn't even be surprised if you see Duncan Keith get a statue out there as well. Got the game-winning goal against Tampa Bay in 2015. So
I would think that for sure both get their number retired.
Oh, without a
you're going to
doubt.
have potentially 4, maybe 5 numbers retired from that dynasty.
Do you retire Crawford's number?
Nah, I don't think so.
I think you have to.
And then
was
I
gonna
saw,
say,
like,
I would lean that you kind of have to. I feel.
I mean, he
like
did
the
get you
goalie-
2 cups,
Two
and
cups.
let's be real.
they
who's gonna
already
wear
retired
50 ever
Hosa's
again
number.
anyways, but
I
They're-
guess they could, and who cares?
I did see this, not to give you another Hawks question, but, like, is he going in the Hall?
Oh, people
Crawford.
were talking
Oh, I
about
saw
that.
that. I think it was like BR Open Ice or whatever.
I don't know about
I'm
that one.
with
Yeah.
you on
I don't
that.
think-
Like,
He needed like a Vezina or something. I think he got a
Yeah.
couple of Jennings trophies
Right.
in there, but you need like best goalie in the league.
Yes.
He always top 10, top 15 goalie in the league while at his peak.
right.
But yeah, I don't think he's a Hall of Fame goalie.
Love to
Very
see
upper echelon of like very, very good goalies that
Okay.
won't make the Hall.
Speaking of Hawks goalies, tonight we have Jackson Stelber making his NHL goaltending debut. I know nothing about this person, but
Sounds like a sick lacrosse player.
it does. It should be interesting to see. We were talking earlier about it. Seems like anytime a team is like debuting like a goalie for their first NHL game, it always seems to kind of get the group rallied around it, and like you see them just kind of selling out more, blocking shots because they want to like get him his first win in his first game. So it'll be interesting to see if we can like visibly notice any of that going on with the Hawks tonight.
The one thing I will say about him is that while he does have the worst spelling of the name Jackson, I will still be rooting for him.
There you go.
Jackson will always be the best way to spell that name.
For those
Totally
who
no
don't know,
bias.
He spells it Jaxson. Jackson.
So
Jack's son.
I have no trepidations about betting the over tonight. We're easily hitting.
Okay.
Over 6 for all you listening. Tweeted it, posted it, the whole 9 yards. So I'm excited to
Just basically count it.
You have to bet the over tonight, especially with Elwood. So we got to give Elwood some props here because
Yes.
they're letting us do this watch party here. They've been great. I gave him a shout out last episode. Excuse me, a little under the weather. I'm going to give another one to Nathan. He's been great with us. He's been emailing back and forth. They've made some posts. They even created like a super cool one today that made me feel like a celebrity. I have people like DMing me on Instagram and like, "What the fuck?" Like,
It was pretty cool.
why do
like-
you guys have a black and white like
Yeah.
flyer for your
Yeah.
for your brand? That's pretty sick.
Shout out to their social team. They've done a great job letting everyone know that we're coming. And like you said, Nathan was so great working with us the whole time. I know he's going to be busy tonight, but we just want to say thank you to him once again.
And just so everybody knows, I think there's like a deal where if you show up to Elwood's and you're wearing like team gear of someone that's playing on the TV, every time your team scores a goal of that you're wearing, you get a free shot of something.
Yes.
Yeah. I believe you can choose Pink Whitney, JMO, Stoli. There's a couple different options.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. Yep. So it's gonna be a fun time. We're excited for that. Maybe we'll give next week's episode you'll get a little post game recap of what went down that night. I'm sure it's gonna be a interesting evening, if I could put it
Say the
mildly.
least.
Yeah.
Well, you boys are going to have a long one, getting on a flight.
Yeah, we have a tough turnaround. Harry and I
Yeah.
have to board a flight at 5:50.
Did you guys check in, by the way?
the-
Yes.
Okay.
5:50 in the morning is the flight tomorrow, as we're about to most likely get into some inconvenience tonight, if you will.
That's a good way to put it. And I would
Might
say
be
right
closing the
now,
bar.
like the plan is kind of to just stay awake.
Just run it.
Yeah.
Or I might get like 2 to 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
We'll see
Sleep
what
on the
happens.
plane. Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be a rest and recovery day. But before we, wrap up, we just want to get on here quick. Let's talk a little bit of NHL standings. Just a little standings update. We talked about the Blues and the Hawks. Hawks, they're kind of more in that Bedard conversation. Kind of a big one for the Blues tonight. They're trying to get into the wild card spot. They're dealing with some big injuries. I would assume that they'll be firing on all cylinders tonight. What do you think of the Blues and their chances of making the playoffs? I think right now they have, 49 points?
Which is 2 behind the second wild card spot. So they're definitely still in the hunt. I mean, you look at the wild card spots for the West right now. You've got Edmonton in the first spot with 55 points. You got Colorado in the second with 51 points. I don't know. Calgary's ahead of St. Louis. I think I could see probably Colorado or Calgary making the playoffs ahead of the Blues.
I can't see this working out for the Blues, to be quite honest. Like, just given like the teams they're gonna have to outplay to win, like to get that spot, I don't see it. I feel like this is just gonna be an off year for them between the injuries and just whatever else.
It's like a weird mishmash of like mediocrity in the Central right now. I think like,
Yeah.
you have the Stars and the Jets who are playing very well at the moment. You've got the
That's
Wild
weird.
who are kind of hanging on to that third spot, and then from the Avs to like the Preds, it's just you're separated by like maybe 3 points. 3 teams separated by a blanket of 3 points. You just don't really know what direction those teams are going in because it doesn't seem like St. Louis or Nashville has really been able to put together any sort of consistency.
I was gonna say it's been tough for them to like really string together any sort of like consistent win streak or anything. Like they're just kind of like win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 1. Like,
Yeah, like Colorado last 10, 5-5. St. Louis last 10, 6-4, and same for Nashville.
Yep.
I think before the season started, when we were doing predictions, we had some of these teams finishing pretty high up, and it seems like we had Seattle, probably Los Angeles being teams who were poking at the playoff bubble, but all of a sudden those teams are a wagon, especially Seattle. They're first in the division right now.
Yeah, and they look good too. They look really good.
I do think Colorado, once they get healthy, they're going to be humming. McKinnon's been unbelievable since he came back.
He has. That's been big for them because they desperately needed it.
They needed that.
He's on pace, I think I read on Twitter yesterday, for like 109 points in 70 games. I mean, he's humming, so should be interesting. I know Cale McCarr's dealing with a couple injuries at the moment.
Absolutely.
So, speaking of injuries, Cole Caulfield.
Yeah, done for the year.
Yeah.
And Max Pacioretty.
Yep.
Max Pacioretty, a non-contact Achilles injury. He's out for the year.
Came back
so-
for 2 games and then got even worse injury.
I don't know
That-
why, and I really hope this isn't the case, but that kind of stuff always makes me think like you just made it so much worse. Like we're talking
Yeah.
like maybe a full year, maybe year and a half recovery.
Was that the same injury that he was out from like the whole time? Or I think it
I'm
was
not.
can't
different.
remember.
I'm not
No, I
sure,
don't
but
think
if it
so.
is, like I just
I think it was an
that's
ACL
not good.
originally.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was something different. But either way, that's just not good.
At this point, how old is Pacioretty at this point? Like 33, 34?
Probably.
I think he's like 34, 35, something around that range.
That almost might be like unproductive,
He's
like career
34.
ending at
Yeah.
this point, especially Achilles injury. Like across sports, there are very rare instances where guys come back and they're basically the same type of player.
Yeah,
The two that can come off the mind, at least in basketball, has been Kevin Durant, and I think it was like Dr. J or Dominique Wilkins are the only two guys I can really think of who have come back from serious Achilles injuries.
Or like ACL, like with running backs. I think it was like Deuce McAllister did it once, but he was like 22.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's also one in hockey you don't see a lot. Like Achilles is kind of hard because you got the boot on. It keeps your foot really like tight and locked in. But if you watch the replay, it's just like, oh my God, there's no one near him, and you just see him fall over, pointing at his the back part of his ankle, and he just knew it popped. So
Yeah, that's not good.
a couple brutal injuries. Let's talk Caps real quick. Like
Sure.
a little minute or two. What are you guys seeing so far? What do you think?
Tonight's a big one. I mean,
Yes.
they're on a little Western swing right here. They got a nice, much-needed 4-0 W over the Yotes the other night at the Mullet Arena. Big shutout for Darcy. Darcy, man, I got to hand it to him. He's looked really, really good this year.
Props to him, and I know he struggled a little bit at the beginning of the season, but like
there were some questions, but leads the league in shutouts with 5, so that's always good. And yeah, I've liked what I've seen, so I'm hoping that we can continue the momentum on this swing. We got Vegas tonight, and then there's one more on this trip. I don't think this is like the LA, San Jose, Anaheim one, but it might. No, we already played Seattle.
think so.
I think there's one more.
Colorado.
That's what it is.
So
yeah,
they're
it's like
at
a
the
central-
Avs
yeah.
on Tuesday the 24th, and then home against the Pens on the 26th.
Yeah, so it'd be really awesome to come back for that Pens game, having just like swept those 3 games on the road. I know it's tall order against Vegas and Avalanche
For sure.
but that'd be huge if they could go into that Pens game with that kind of momentum.
Two places though, typically where the Caps have played some decent hockey in recent years. I know there's been a couple, instances where they've gotten speed bagged in those arenas, but they've also won some pretty gritty road games there as well.
Particularly, I think of I feel like maybe I'm just thinking of this one in particularly, but I have bad memories of watching us play at Colorado.
Yep.
A lot of teams
Vegas
do.
is good.
Yeah.
Vegas is good. Like, we should be good there because
Yeah.
that's where we freaking won it all. So they should, they should have some happiness.
Totally
Certain-
transfers over 5 years later.
It absolutely does. Yeah.
That's all that matters. Right?
I mean, for some of them though, probably like you don't forget where you freaking won your first Stanley Cup. Like,
For sure.
I think at least like
Only Stanley Cups.
Yeah. Thank you.
Had to throw that in there.
Thank you.
The
We only
dynasties-
have one, so
well
The dynasties can't hear you.
right, so far, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
my bad. It's not over yet.
Well, we'll actually be able to compete for one this.
I can't
this
wait.
spring.
I can't wait for us to go
Wow.
on like a 3-peat, and then Ovi retires with 4, and Sid only has 3.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I'd kill myself. you know what's funny? My buddy Cam, friend of the program, some of
He
you guys
is.
know Cam. He's
Yep.
like, he's talking shit to me that day. He's like, we're wild card 1. You guys are wild card 2. I'm like, you're ahead of us by like 4 points, and we have 3 games in hand. Like, why are you coming at me like trying to brag? He's like, whatever, dude. I was like, like, get over it. I mean, Pens get Jari back. We got Petrie back. I think next Thursday, that's going to be a hell of a matchup between the two.
It's going to be a big one,
should be a
and
good
it's
one.
going to get ugly fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
As it always does.
Yeah,
most
especially
likely the
because
case.
like given the time of the year now, and like we're kind of getting into crunch time, and also just like both of those teams know there's a high chance only one of them is making the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So that's a big one for sure.
In a weird way, I kind of am still thinking that we're going to see some fall off from the Rangers as they kind of continue
I
to
could
like
see that too. I could see it.
have this little identity crisis. Now they have been much better as of late. Guys, please don't come to my house and kill me. We all know that you want to do that, but
So many Rangers fans just heard that and are like, oh my god, I'm never listening to this podcast again.
Exactly.
Freaking idiots don't know
say
what they're
one
talking
bad
about.
thing about the Rangers and it's like, boom, you're on the blacklist. But no, I mean, I just until they figure out the lineup situation, the Laffy situation, I just think it's going to be constant question
Like
marks.
you said, though,
Yeah.
6-2-2 in their last 10, so they've sort of been picking it up a little bit. So, but we'll see where that goes.
Islanders are an X factor too. I'm curious to see how that rocks out. We've been seeing
Yeah.
a lot of tweets about Lou Lamoriello trying to land, a big name here. I know Chikrin's been in the mix in that organization.
They just
This
like they
rumor mill.
don't spend the money to go get people though. I feel like that's
Yeah.
always been the knock with that team is they don't make like moves.
Yep. No, they talk about doing it.
Yeah.
And their fans always think they're going
And
to.
everyone loves to pick the Islanders as like, this guy would be perfect
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And,
And
then,
you're like, yeah, he would be, wouldn't he?
and then Calgary's
And then-
like, we'll give you $8.5 million for 8 years, and then they go there.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting finish as we get closer to playoff crunch. Not too much else that I think we have to discuss hockey-wise, given we just recorded it.
I want to talk a little Bedard watch here. We've got the Blue Jackets with 28 points. We have Montreal with 41 points, Chicago with 30, Arizona with 33, and Anaheim with 31.
Anaheim's trying to tank. Like
They
out of
are
all
so
those teams,
bad.
they are definitely the one where I'm like, wow, you guys are really going for it.
And I think after reading those numbers off, I am a little bit surprised that the Jackets only have 28 points. And I'm going to say I kind of really want the Ducks to pick it up, because if Connor Bedard ends up in the Metro, I think I'm going to kill myself.
I do
Yeah.
not want him
Well,
in Columbus. That would be so
that would be
stupid.
so-
Don't worry,
dumb.
guys. Don't worry, guys. Chicago will handle. Chicago.
Okay.
We'll help you out.
I
We'll help
do
you
know
out.
a lot of Flyers fans. Like one of my former Calvert Hall hockey teammates, Brendan O'Brien, otherwise known as Bob.
Great name. I have a buddy, Brett O'Brien, and we did the same thing with that.
Yeah, he's Bobo.
Yeah.
But he was tweeting recently. He's a diehard Flyers fan. He was tweeting recently something like, "Can the Flyers stop winning games?" Like he was like, "Are they stupid? Like, what
They're
are they
playing well.
Dude, it's
Yeah,
kind of like the New
but
York
all
Jets.
the Flyers fans are like, "What are you doing?" Like, it's like the Texans thing, too,
Yes.
where,
Yes.
where they were like,
Thank you.
hey, we got that nice Hail Mary pass."
Right.
It's like, you freaking idiots. Like,
We really don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're trying to do here, but they have been playing
Yeah.
better lately.
I mean,
I think I've texted
they-
you guys like
They did just get 4-1 by the Hawks a couple days ago.
Oh, okay.
So
Then they
But
suck.
they're 7-3 in their last 10. I mean,
yeah, they're playing decent.
that would be perfect for them to finish 22nd.
yeah. Well, it's because there's no iPads on the bench anymore.
That's right. You're right. You're right.
Dude,
they're
how
not
funny.
watching Fortnite streams on the bench.
Yeah, no more Fortnite streams on the bench. But all right, yeah, we just wanted to talk a little NHL, catch you guys up on what's going on with our trip, the league, that fun stuff. Before we wrap up, today is the first day of divisional playoff weekend in the NFL.
Yes.
We got Jags, Chiefs. We've got who's the night game tonight?
I believe it's
Eagles,
Giants,
Giants.
Eagles,
Giants, Eagles, and then tomorrow we got Bills, Bengals, and
San Fran, and Dallas.
And the boys.
give me your four winners.
Well, it's 7-7 right now.
Oh.
Chiefs and Jags. We're starting the second quarter here.
Okay.
Okay.
I got Chiefs. I got Giants beating the Eagles as my upset, and then I'm gonna take the Bills, and I'm also gonna take Niners. Cowboys is tough. Mark's gonna kill me, but I'm gonna take the Niners.
I'm going to take the Niners too. Don't mind rooting for the city that I used to live in. So go San Fran. Have some great memories from there. I cannot, in good conscience, root for either the Giants or the Eagles. So I'm just going to go ahead and call that an asteroid game.
Yep.
I would love to see. I think I can't pick the Bengals. I'm going to pick the Bills. I think at this point, I just want to see them win a championship because those fans just deserve it.
Yeah.
They do.
They
And then
definitely
you're
do.
taking Chiefs probably.
Yeah, and then the Chiefs is just a no-brainer.
Yep, I'm gonna go. I really wanted to bet the Jaguars today because that money line was juicy, and I just like their team a lot. I think they're fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go with the Chiefs. It's probably what's gonna happen, especially if it's tied right now. I kind of see like the Mahomes factor kicking in late in the fourth or something, and they'll get it done.
I think they're having some pretty serious weather there.
Oh really?
It looked like
The
someone
field
posted.
looked pretty clean when I was
Yeah.
watching
Yeah,
a little
loved it
bit
too.
earlier, so
That
they were
was
probably able to
right
clean everything. It was probably like just some early morning snow.
Yeah, I saw they had
and
some
then they
this
just
morning.
cleaned it up.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'll take the Chiefs, and then tonight I'm with you, Harry. I think Giants got this. The Eagles are. I think they peaked too early, and the Giants are like hot right now.
Plus 290 on the money line.
I'm gonna ride that with you.
I
And
also
then-
like those are NFC East numbers. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
What do you like tomorrow?
Tomorrow is tough. This should be two good games.
Yes.
honestly.
Yes.
If you're asking me honestly, I have a really bad feeling the Bengals are gonna win, but I don't want that to happen at all. Like I can't think of anything that I would rather not happen. So I'm just gonna pick the Bills and really hope that I'm right. And that other one is a coin flip, man. The Cowboys and the Niners have both shown like flashes this year that has made me believe either of them could win the Super Bowl like at different times. but I think I'm gonna go with the Niners just because I like their whole kind of, I don't want to say Cinderella story, but they're it's a really interesting.
Yeah. How can you not root for a guy like that?
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna go with Chiefs, but I did see this the other day. Number 1 seeds are 13, 25, and 1 against the spread. So, for tomorrow's one, or no, that's also tonight. But if you have time to bet on covering the spread, I'd take the Giants to cover. But I'll probably take Chiefs, but I think the Jags will cover, probably like a 6 or 5 point game, something like that. I gotta take. Crap. I'm gonna take the Eagles.
Someone here had to. Or else everyone's gonna be like, what
I
is
just
wrong
think,
with you?
as great as the Giants have been, they have no receivers at all, and I think the Giants were able to get away with just covering Justin Jefferson and letting T.J. Hawkinson go off. But now with the Eagles, you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Miles Sanders. There's just the Giants' defense is good. There's just way too many weapons for them to handle. For tomorrow, I'm honestly going to take San Fran in a blowout.
Wow.
I think Dallas has been so inconsistent throughout this entire year. They'll go off for games like they did against Tampa Bay and Minnesota, but I'm not impressed by those because both those teams are honestly frauds.
They are.
It honestly should have been Carolina hosting that home playoff game and get destroyed. And then the Vikings, we saw what happened when they played the Giants. So San Fran is just a wagon. I think they won 11 games in a row right now.
Ride the hot hand.
And I think, honestly, Seattle's probably a little bit better than Dallas. It's just, I'd like the consistency that the Seattle had throughout most of the year. And then, Bills, Chiefs. I got to go Bills. It's in Buffalo. I think they'll clean up some of their defensive issues they had against Skylar Thompson and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And I just want to ride this story with DeMar Hamlin all the way to a Super Bowl and him walking out of the tunnel at
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
where's the Super Bowl this year? Is it Arizona?
Arizona.
Yeah.
I just want to wind the tunnel in Arizona, just flipping the coin for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
between
that
the
would be
Bills.
awesome.
It would be really cool.
But-
You got to feel for Bills fans. They
Yeah.
need one. So
Not even just that, but just Buffalo sports fans. have been
They
through
had
so
the
much.
foot in the crease goal in 99 against the Stars.
4 straight Super Bowl losses
Yep,
back in the
just-
80s,
They
90s.
deserve
deserve one. And hey,
They have,
it's fucking cold over there.
It starts snowing
over
in
here.
fucking
Give 'em-
September, man.
Give them something to be happy about, please.
Yeah.
it's cold over here.
Last thing I'll say about the Cowboys, I think these are 2 very good stats for this matchup. The Cowboys are only 4-4 on the road.
Okay.
The Niners are 8-1 at home.
Yeah.
All right, that's something to watch out for.
Well, thanks for listening to the Empty Betters football podcast.
If you came here for hockey, it's the wrong time. No, just kidding. We're excited. This is going to be fun at Elwood's tonight. We'll get back with you guys sometime next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate the love and support as always. And without further ado,
Class dismissed.